Chitirkaari, a Sindhi word for wood carving, is a skill of artistic expression passed down through generations of board building craftsmen. This form of art has great significance in Pakistan's traditional crafts and utilized widely by the Mohanna board building craftsmen for decorating the indigenous boards using intricate floral and geometric patterns, creating a rustic aesthetic that is pleasing to the eye. It requires high skills and immense practice to become a karigar, going through years of apprenticeship under the ustad, a master craftsman. The craftsman used simple tools, swiftly carving out the patterns in his mind with synchronized and rhythmic movements of hand and mind, seemingly created by magic. The two main tools are rambi, chisel, and thapni, a wooden plank for hammering the chisel. The rambi is placed at different angles and struck with a specific pressure by thapni, making it move effortlessly at a high speed, carving out specific designs memorized by the craftsmen through practice and learning from their ustad. The speed at which a seasoned wood carver works, barely using any reference drawings, is mind-boggling, leaving the onlooker in complete awe. The first step is to create a grid outline on perfectly smooth surface of wooden planks. The commonly used patterns are linear, for which basic guidelines are drawn using katkash, a tool similar to a T-square, and gazmesh for making chiseled straight border lines. These lines help in defining the width of the carving band. After this, perpendicular lines are drawn to divide the length into approximate squares or rectangles, as required for the specific pattern being carved. Once this basic grid is ready, the craftsman draws an outline of the pattern's geometric divisions using a pencil, helping him to visualize the motif, then proceeds with chiseling out the complex floral and geometric designs. To create circular patterns, a compass is used to achieve accuracy. The patterns evolve from basic geometry to their complete design in single line, followed by giving a 3D depth by chiseling out the unwanted parts, bringing out a beautifully finished motif. Some designs are carved out just by using different tools, sometimes with thicker edges and sometimes with thinner ones, in a repeated pattern, creating the desired design. Once the carving finishes, it is neatened up by shaving and sanding smooth the edges and finally polishing with application of mustard oil. Carving is done on different parts of the galio houseboat and hurro fishing boat to achieve an enhanced visual aesthetic. The parts commonly carved in both galio and hurro include the front piece called mohri, having richly ornate linear carvings done vertically down its entire length, mostly using khajji, chiller and dandani zigzag lines in singular or double columns complementing the diamond-shaped pattern placed in the middle. The side of mohri facing inwards is usually decorated with a chokri, the square-shaped geometric design. The hurro has a mohri at both ends. In the case of a galio, there are additional details including the small and elaborately carved handles on the mohri to tie the anchor ropes, the sehri and moro installed on the agal takht used for resting the anchor, and the lato and thapa on pachal takht. On the outer sides, kacho panels are decorated with 3 consecutive rows of varying designs running along the entire length of the boat, starting from the top kadi, continuing down the sides and turning along the bottom edge up to its quarter length. This is repeated identically on both sides of the boat. Commonly used linear motifs include gol dando, vado dando, sanu dando, turmicho, mudakil, pechikatir, koro and valar. Similar designs are carved on adhere, the inner side panels, divided into 4 to 5 equal squares along its length. Narrower carving patterns such as mudakil and sanu dando are chosen for framing the outline of these square divisions. Singular motifs of varying styles fill the center of each square. Vertical wooden strip used as divider in between the squares are carved with dandani design. With such intricate carvings, the boat's interior, that is, its central sitting space, becomes visually very pleasing. Another elaborately carved element is the addo thwart, a horizontal beam running across the boat's width, placed at the edge of front and back decks. The hurros have 3 of these, whereas the galio has only 2. The carvings on addo are usually very intricate linear patterns punctuated with the square chokri in the middle or at the 2 ends. The galio houseboat has some more elements embellished with carvings. One of these is dari, the trapezoidal-shaped arched top backside. This is divided into 2 segments through its central vertical axis. The 2 portions are carved with borders running along all sides of the division, having a combination of bigger and smaller motifs. A large intricate motif, gulbuto, is placed in the center on both divisions. As the name suggests, the central motif is usually floral. However, in some cases, the owners give preference to carvings depicting an airplane or sometimes a peacock. The most spectacular of all carved elements is the kataro of galio, a 3-arched element on pachal side, marking the entrance to storage area underneath the stern deck. Kataro consists of smaller parts carved as separate pieces, completely covered with most intricate geometric or floral patterns. When assembled together, these create a visually impactful and grand centerpiece that forms an eye-catching highlight of the galio's living space. Facing the kataro on the opposite side is the simpler mehrabi, one big arched element decorating the edges of opening into kitchen storage area underneath bow deck. The mehrabi is a thinner, delicate edge having small patterns along its length and a more elaborate floral motif at the 2 corners. The compassionate and dedicated hard work of craftsmen doing Chitirkaari brings in an added layer of beauty, elegance, and a sense of grandeur to the otherwise simple indigenous boats of the Indus. Their contribution is much appreciated, valued, and cherished by the boat owners as well as others.